welcome back to the second segment of the Locker Room Readout. I am your host, Saphyr. Have the privilege of partnering tonight with the boss man, Willie Epstein Jr. How you
Chicka, chicka,
feeling?
chicka, 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 chicka.
I'm working on my throat so I can get that back. I got throat issues.
What's going on, Sapphire?
Listen, I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to you about this baseball thing because, it's such a long season, like I said, and just really looking for pearls of wisdom from you. On the end of the last break, I was teeing up this question. ESPN is the new home of MLB TV, and they're touting
Mhm.
that we can watch the out of market games, we can watch live or on demand. I'm so confused, boss man. I'm so confused. Does this mean regular folk like me have to pay another subscription to get all of this access on one platform?
Okay, so let me be careful with how I answer this question, right? Because in the first segment, we talked about you led off with the game in Detroit between the tribe, back then the tribe, and then the Tigers with the snow all over the place.
For some of us,
And
it's still the tribe, but go ahead.
right. And you asked me why did they play that game? And I said, easy. Money, 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 money. So of course it's going to be a little bit more expensive. Of course they're going to find a way to railroad it into some sort of subscription. Of course people are going to have to pay a couple of extra dollars to watch their favorite team, or diehard fans that are all over the place when it comes to watching these various games. Of course. And why not partner with the so-called worldwide leader in ESPN? Because they have the resources, not just from a money standpoint, but they have all of the announcers, they have all of the analysts, they have all of the different talk shows, they have all of the different podcasts, and they actually need to hire me as well because I know just as much as those dudes do. But that's another story for another
Show
day.
you right. Show you right.
So that's the whole thing with that. I mean, it all boils down to one thing, which is money. And of course, the opening game between the Giants and the Yankees, yeah, it was played on Netflix, right? When's the last time you saw a baseball game on opening day played on Netflix? I'll wait.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's just like they're diluting the brand. And I'll say this, you know, we're living in some dynamic times. If you just even look at gas prices, the prices, of groceries, anything, everything, I should say, is going up in cost. So when I think about now, here's another platform that's subscription based. It's like, I really wonder how this is going to work.
It's gonna work because they've already done all the research. We know this. They've already done all the analytical stuff. They've already done all the cost analysis. They've done all of that stuff. And here's the thing: Netflix is in nearly 200 countries around the globe. I said 200. So, and shout out to John Carlos Stanton because on Wednesday night he hit a streamer out of the ballpark 114 miles an hour that
Mhm.
actually padded the Yankees lead. But see, that's what I'm talking about right there. See, and that's the thing because Major League Baseball has been long wanting to grow the game globally for I don't know how long. So why not take advantage? And I'm telling you right now, the cable companies, they're in trouble. They're going to be in trouble. Um, because everything, and I do mean everything, is going to streaming. So we
Absolutely.
already know what it is. It's all about the dollar bill.
Absolutely. Have you cut the cord yet?
On cable?
Yeah.
Oh, I cut the cord on cable years ago.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a newer one, probably in the last handful of years, but yeah, I definitely it's incredible. To your point, it's incredible. And then last question related to MLB. The Giants have a new skipper, and
Mm-hmm.
he took a very non-traditional path to become the manager of that professional baseball league. Your thoughts on how that came to be and what you think the impact will be in Major League Baseball moving forward as it relates to the candidacy pool for the manager roles?
Well, I want to give a shout out to Major League Baseball because out of the four major sports in North America, they have by far more minority on the field management than any other league around here. And Tony Vitello came from the University of Tennessee, where he, of course, had a successful run at the University of Tennessee. It is no different, in my opinion, going out and finding the most viable candidate, no matter where they are. It's just like we have explained to prospects or high school kids or even college athletes for that matter. If you have the talent, you're going to be found. And sometimes, well, what we've seen from Major League Baseball, particularly, and I'm not saying Tony Vitello is or is not a minority. I'm just simply saying that Major League Baseball is far ahead of the other sports when it comes to that, or the other leagues when it comes to that. Um, he is actually was very successful in the SEC, of course, with Tennessee. But if you are good, then they're going to find you. If you are good enough, they're going to find you. If you are great, trust me, they are going to find you. So Major League Baseball has shown its propensity to detach itself from the traditional stuff that we're used to. Just look at what's going on with the rules and stuff, the pitch clock,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
bases, all those things. Balls and strikes can be challenged now. So I don't think that is anything that's wrong with it because it gives a much wider playing field for for those candidates that may not otherwise be discovered.
Wow. Well, we're going to see. Do you have any concerns about his ability to lead that team?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, obviously, if he has success in it, we know that when coaches jump from the collegiate ranks to the pros in NFL or NBA, it's a little bit of a different animal. But since this is such a precedented type of thing, what do we really have to measure the standard upon? You know, the standard
Interesting.
is the definition of a standard is the measuring of a thing against the thing. Well, what thing do we
Mhm.
have to measure this against? I don't think we have one. At least I don't recall us having one. So he truly is a unicorn in the sense that they're trying something different out in San Francisco. And obviously, I mean, they believe in him enough to have him brought in and get his own staff in there and try to nurture those guys and get those guys going so they can start enjoying some postseason success like they once did.
So is that to say that he has the same runway as other maybe veteran managers would have?
What do you mean by one way?
Runway.
Oh,
So,
runway.
runway. Yeah.
Runway. I think that is really contingent upon the talent that's in the building. In San Francisco, by some estimations, some people seem to think that they're going to make a wild card push. Last year they did so, and until they didn't, they've actually done that for the past couple of years. When
Mhm.
they would get to the trade deadline, people would argue on whether or not they should be buyers or sellers, and whatever side of the fence you may lie on when it comes to that opinion, we'll see. But in terms of, I mean, if he if he actually is in a position to where his team is competing and he has all the tools to suggest that his team will be competitive, kind of like but unlike Jamie Mayo, not Jamie Mayo, Coach Mayo from the New England Patriots when they fired him after 1 year because
Yeah.
they said that he was just overwhelmed and in over his head and the team wasn't competitive. Now, if it becomes something to that nature, then yeah, his runaway will probably be pretty short. But I don't anticipate that from this guy just seeing what his credentials are.
We gonna see what we gonna see. Now, speaking of being competitive, want to transition over to the NFL because today actually was the NFL Pro Day, and a couple of the bigger stories out there were in and around quarterback Ty Simpson out of Alabama, who allegedly had a spectacular pro day, and then the Ohio State University boss man,
Oh,
the THUS. E E. The Ohio State University players had their pro days. That's let's see, Reese Styles, Downs, and Tate. So I want to start with Bama QB Ty Simpson. From your perspective, like, is he going to be a first round draft pick? And what are the positives that you see in him for a team?
I watched him at the combine, and I was impressed by the way he was able to deliver the ball with accuracy on the intermediate and the longer throws.
Hmm.
I did not expect that out of him, but that's not to say that he didn't have the ability to do that. Alabama, shout out to my homegirl, Lulu. Lulu, she's a crazy Tide fan. I
Okay,
don't
let me
like
get it in. Hi, Lulu.
I don't like the tie at all, not even a
Hmm.
little bit. But that team is not was not as talented last year as the teams that we've seen before. So he had to carry a lot of stuff on his own shoulders with the lackluster running game and an offensive line that wasn't nearly as good. But he was still good enough, apparently. And there was talk in the beginning of the season, or there at the before the season even started, that Ty Simpson was going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate. He had some rough goals of it there at the end of the season with some fumbles and turnovers and stuff. But from what I saw at the combine, I was like, "Yo, this kid can whip it." And I think the big issue with him is that he's only 6'1". He's 6'1" and like 210 pounds.
Hmm.
Dan Orlovsky, who I like as an analyst, and I enjoy watching him and listening to him talk. He has flip flopped, and of course, Dan Orlovsky is with ESPN. He has flip flopped from saying that Fernando Mendoza was the consistent best quarterback in this class to now saying that Ty Simpson is. And he said he looked at the tape. Well, he looked at the tape and saw the same thing that everybody else has already been seeing. But he
Hmm.
added a little
Hmm.
bit to it by saying, well, Alabama needed Ty Simpson to do more than what Indiana needed Fernando Mendoza to do. And that's the
Hmm.
reason why he put Mendoza under Ty Simpson. But I do believe he will go in the first round. I do believe you might want to watch out for the Jets in the first round. You might want to watch out for the Cardinals in the first round, even the Dolphins, even though they just picked up Malik
Oh,
Chisholm.
that's interesting. Yeah,
No,
because they did.
yeah, Malik Willis. I said
Yeah.
Malik Chisholm because I just saw an alert that Jazz Chisholm said he wants to steal 50 bases this year.
Mm.
Okay, go for it. But anyway, but in terms of Ty Simpson, I mean, let's look around the landscape real quick for teams that are picking in that first half of the first draft that need a quarterback. We
Please
can
leave the Cleveland Browns
Cleveland
out
Browns,
of this whole
the
thing
Cleveland
about
Browns
QBs.
have
Please
been
don't
linked
do
to
that.
they have been linked to him. I don't think they're going to pick him because what would that say about that organization if they did that after choosing Billy?
I would give up my fandom if they pick another quarterback. I would give up my fandom, okay?
They might have to bring Brian Sipe out of retirement.
I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with that.
But think about the teams. I mean, the Giants obviously don't need a quarterback. The Cowboys don't need a quarterback. Um, they're talking about the Vikings possibly being in play for young Ty Simpson, even though they got JJ McCarthy, who I don't think they believe in. And it's not beyond for us to believe that Minnesota just don't have the right stuff when it comes to drafting quarterbacks, because they're also the team that drafted Ryan, not Ryan Tannehill, the kid from Florida State. I can't think of his name. His wife works for ESPN. She is an analyst as well. Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name, but they ended up drafting him like with the number 9 overall pick.
And
And then he
didn't they just acquire for 1 year at the minimum Kyler
Kyler Murray.
Murray? Okay.
Yes. And they just brought in Carson Wentz again too.
Wow. I did
And
not
they
know
let
that.
Sam Darnold walk
Yes.
free agency. So
Yes.
I'm not too
Yeah.
confident in what the Vikings are going to do with the quarterback spot, but they are in play in terms of in reference to this conversation.
Right, but didn't they also term their GM after just signing him like a year or 2 before behind the fact that they let Sam Darnold go? I'm pretty certain. I'm pretty
I don't think
wasn't that
I
their
don't I
GM
don't
that they fired?
I don't think he got fired. I mean, I could be
The
wrong.
general manager did it?
I can't speak to that yay or nay.
Okay.
But either case, you have Kyler Murray, who he hasn't put up bad numbers in his career. I mean, a couple of different points in his career was in the MVP talk. He led that Cardinals team to the playoffs a few years ago. But we know the alleged stories coming out of Phoenix about his study habits, if you will. But Ty Simpson, I do believe he's going to go in the first round. I wouldn't mind seeing him land in Pittsburgh, but how
Oh my
long is Mike
goodness.
McCarthy going to be the coach of the Steelers? That's another question.
I mean, for me, I think talking about runways, I think his is like limitless. He's a native to the area. He understands the culture, the history, the fandom. And I actually think I would give him an above average coaching grade. Not that I'm a professional at it, but I think wherever he has gone, he has significantly improved the team. He's proven. I just the day that they announced him as the head coach, I had a very bad feeling in my
Mhm,
gut, right? There was so
mhm,
much talk in and around, Tomlin and the Steelers are gonna be in rebuild mode, and I don't think they're that far away. And I submit to you, they drafted another The Ohio State University Buckeye, Will Howard, who won a national championship. And by the way, we share a high school alma mater. And I really think, he is to me a more of a prototypical style of quarterback. And he could read defenses, which for me, when I look at Ty Simpson, that was something that did stand out to me as well, but it did not offset his lack of height.
mhm,
Okay.
mhm,
I'm just a proponent of that, 6'3", 6'4", and up quarterback that can just you wanna protect him, he's not gonna run around, but he's gonna sit in that pocket, he's gonna read those defenses, and he's gonna fire that ball like a cannon.
mhm.
That to me especially fits, the AFC North style of play. So, yeah, I'm not a Steelers fan at all, so I'll just leave that there.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. We're up against the clock, but I do want to start the conversation about the pro day at the Ohio State University with the four players there, and this whole conversation in and around whether or not the four of them can go in the top six draft picks this year, the NFL draft. So hold on to that, boss man. Folks, thank you for listening to the locker room and watching the locker
Yes.
room readout. We'll be right back on the other side.